Alright, good evening everyone. Welcome back to Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel. This is our second class on the combined tenses, and we will just continue today with our second topic that we already mentioned in our Telegram channel. So basically today's topic will be on the past continuous tense. Now of course in terms of the Turkish assigned kind of titling, in Turkish language it's basically called the past tense of the continuous tense, present continuous tense, right? So but of course, because there is already a counterpart of that in English language, I just call it past continuous tense. Okay. Now just before we start with our video, if you really are not part of this channel, if you're not subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so for and open for the notifications for further kind of announcements of the live videos. And if you really like the videos, please just smash that like button. I would appreciate it. That really just helps the channel to grow. Thank you very much in advance. So what we will be doing today, on Wednesday we did the first class on the combined tenses, right? And I have to open this picture for you. This was the picture that we discussed last time. This picture basically shows all possible verb conjugations in Turkish language, right? And just to repeat for some of you who are newcomers, in the past we covered the simple, right, the basics, which were basically the normal regular 5 tenses and 4 moods in Turkish language. This is basically what we have above right here. We are already done with that part. And on Wednesday we covered the first combination, right, which was this one, the past tense of the present tense. So Wednesday we covered the first combination of the past tense. We have 8 combinations here to cover. So we started with the past tense, this one, right? We will finish this 8 over the next weeks, and then we'll continue with the reported past tense combinations. So far we have covered only one here, and this was the Wednesday class. Today we will cover the second one, okay? Past tense of the present continuous tense, as it says in Turkish language, but basically its English title will be past continuous, okay? Past continuous tense, because it already exists in English language. So let's start. What are these kind of past tense combinations all about? Before we start, we already talked about the adding ed, right? Ed is the auxiliary verb that we attach to 8 possible cases here that you see on the picture. We basically attach this ed to as the ending, right? And when we add this ending ed to this tenses and moods, we kind of automatically transform it into the past tense endings, in addition to already existing endings, right? Mış, acak, malı, and so on and so on. So we basically make an additional past tense in addition to already existing endings. So let's now go and see the rule for past continuous tense. What is the rule for past continuous? Let's start with the affirmative, okay? With affirmative, and I have here 2 verbs, yapmak, to do, and gitmek, to go, just as examples. So what do we do? Basically, when we add ed to the present continuous tense, we have what? As a rule here, we have a verb root, right? A verb without mak or mek. Then we have to add yor with respective maybe yor, iyor, uyor, or just yor, depending on whether the verb root ends in consonant or a vowel. Then we have this ed and the personal ending, and of course whenever we add this ed, we always transform it to this shortcut form, right? We have to add this ed to the verb itself in order to make the ultimate form of past continuous. So whatever you see here as ed, right? Edim, edin, ede, edik. This is just for informative purposes, just for you to show kind of so that you see how it is constructed. But again, just to repeat, in practice, in spoken language, we never use them separately, okay? We never use this in spoken language separately or in a written language separately. We don't use it like this. So we always have to combine them and have this ultimate structure, okay? So let's look at here, for example, ben yapıyor idim, right, is transformed into what? Yapıyordum. I was doing. Sen yapıyor idin becomes yapıyordun as the ultimate structure. So that's what we have to use. O yapıyor idi becomes yapıyordu. Biz yapıyor idik becomes yapıyorduk. Siz yapıyor idiniz becomes yapıyordunuz. And the last one, onlar yapıyor idiler becomes yapıyorlardı. Again, pay attention that here the plural ending switches, okay? It shifts to the verb root and comes after the yor rather than after id. So, onlar yapıyor idiler becomes onlar yapıyorlardı. Okay? For gitmek is to go. Of course, here we have some kind of a slight shift, right, or change of letter from te to de. That is just normal, but it's not happening in all the verbs, but just random, some kind of a rare verbs. So for gitmek, it will be gidiyor idim. It becomes gidiyordum. Okay, I was going. Gidiyor idin becomes gidiyordun. You were going. Second singular. Gidiyor idi, he, she, right? He, she. Gidiyor idi becomes gidiyordu. Gidiyor idik becomes gidiyorduk. Gidiyor idiniz becomes gidiyordunuz. And gidiyor idiler becomes gidiyorlardı. Okay, onlar gidiyorlardı. So basically, this is how we construct the affirmative form for past continuous tense. Okay, just to show you, just a second, just to show you a couple of more verbs in practice. Okay, let me switch to our workpad here. So just for our workpad, and also, by the way, for those who are still not a member of our channel, Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel, Telegram channel, I encourage you to join it for further announcements and discussions. So let's see this on a couple of more words. The affirmative, right? The affirmative here is this one. I have five verbs here: to sit, to read, to love, to see, and to give. So how do we transform oturmak? We basically have first oturuyor, right? That is the basis, the third person basis. So oturuyor, then oturuyor idim, and this is the ultimate that you have, oturuyordum. Okay. Hi Viju, iyi akşamlar. So oturmak becomes, for oturmak, the past tense will be oturuyordum. And of course, this is just first person, okay? I. We also have you, right? He, she, we, and so on. So this is just an example for I. Oturmak becomes oturuyordum. For okumak, to read, okumak becomes okuyor. Okuyor idim, right? When we add this ide in first person singular, which becomes okuyordum. Don't forget, we have to transform, right? Based on the vowel harmony, this idim becomes dum. Okuyor idim becomes okuyordum. Sevmek, seviyor. Seviyor idim, seviyordum. To see, görmek, görüyor. Görüyor idim, right? And görüyordum. I was seeing. Seviyordum actually means I was loving, but in practice, of course, in daily language, it means I used to love, okay? Or if you want to go like McDonald's, I was loving, I'm loving, I was loving, that's also possible, but in English, basically, seviyordum means I used to love, okay? Or I loved somebody in the past. So, görmek, görüyordum, right? And to give, vermek, becomes veriyor. Veriyor idim, and veriyordum. That is the past continuous. I was giving. Okay. Let's go back to our grammar structure and now cover the negative. Okay, negative for structure. Like how do we make negative? For negative, we have additional here what m, the negative, right? We just add m, which is enough to make it negative. So what do we have? We have what? Yapıyor becomes yapıyordum becomes yapmıyordum, right? Yapmıyor idim becomes yapmıyordum. Yapmıyor idin becomes yapmıyordun, and then yapmıyordu, yapmıyorduk, yapmıyordunuz, yapmıyorlardı. Okay, yapmıyorlardı. For gitmek, the negative will be gitmiyor idim becomes gitmiyordum, then gitmiyordun, we were not going, right? Gitmiyordu, he, she was not going. Gitmiyorduk, we were not going. Gitmiyordunuz, sorry, gitmiyordunuz, you plural or you formal were not going, and gitmiyorlardı, they were not going. Okay, so this is basically the rule. And let's again go back. Hello Fabiola, welcome. Let's again go back to our WordPad to see the negative examples. Okay, let's have this for negative. So what do you have for negative here? Oturmak, right, becomes oturmuyor, oturmuyor idim, oturmuyordum. Okay, okumak, to read or to study, okumuyordum, it becomes okumuyordum. Sevmek, sevmiyor, sevmiyor idim, becomes sevmiyordum. I was not loving, or I used not to love, I didn't used to love, or I didn't love. Okay. Görmek, görmüyor, görmüyor idim, görmüyordum. I was not seeing. Okay. And vermek becomes vermiyordum, I was not giving. Okay, this is the past continuous negative examples. Okay, just to have it here. State. So let's go back to the İyi akşamlar Bridget, right? So let's go back. What about the interrogative? For interrogative, we have, okay, for interrogative, we have what? Yapıyor mu idim? Again, just for the structure purposes, okay, we never write this like this, we never speak like this. Okay, in Turkish, we never express ourselves this long. This is very long. So what do we have here? This is just for you to understand how the structure develops. Yapıyor mu idim becomes yapıyor muydum. Yapıyor mu idin becomes yapıyor muydun, right? Were you doing? And then third person, he, she, right? Was he, she doing? Yapıyor muydu? Then we have we. Biz yapıyor muyduk? Were we doing? As a question. Then for you plural or formal, siz yapıyor muydunuz? Were you doing? And last one, yapıyorlar mıydı? Is were they doing? Okay. For gitmek, gidiyor mu idim becomes gidiyor muydum. For you, it is sen gidiyor muydun? For he, she, o, right? O gidiyor muydu? Biz gidiyor muyduk? Siz gidiyor muydunuz? And last, onlar gidiyorlar mıydı? Okay, so that's the interrogative. And again, let's go back to see on practice. Right here we have this interrogative. To sit, oturmak becomes oturuyor muydum, right? This is again first person only. You can think about this as you, oturuyor muydun, oturuyor muydu, oturuyor muyduk, oturuyor muydunuz, and oturuyorlar mıydı. Okay. For okumak, it becomes okuyor muydum, right? For sevmek, it becomes seviyor muydum. For görmek, it becomes görüyor muydum. Were I seeing, right? That's the question. Were I seeing? And in terms of vermek is veriyor muydum. Were I giving? Were I giving? It's again a question. Okay. So let's go back now to negative interrogative rule. And negative interrogative is very similar. We have only additional m here again, and we have mu idi, right, combined. So yapmıyor mu idim becomes yapmıyor muydum. Okay, yapmıyor mu idin becomes yapmıyor muydun. Weren't you doing? Yapmıyor muydu? Wasn't he, she doing? Yapmıyor muyduk? Weren't we doing? Yapmıyor muydunuz? Weren't you, plural or formal, doing? And last one, yapmıyorlar mıydı? Weren't they doing? Okay. For gitmek, gitmiyor mu idim becomes gitmiyor muydum. For you, sen gitmiyor muydun? Weren't you going? For he, she, it, right? Gitmiyor muydu? Wasn't he or she going? Gitmiyor muyduk? Weren't we going? Gitmiyor muydunuz? Weren't you, plural or formal, going? And last one, weren't they? Gitmiyorlar mıydı? Weren't they going? Okay. So this is the structure, grammar structure for negative interrogative for the past continuous tense. And again, this is just two verbs. Okay, you can work on multiple other verbs. So let's now see that one in practice too again. The negative interrogative. Oturmak, right? It becomes oturmuyor mu, then the oturmuyor mu idim, which is transformed into oturmuyor muydum. Okay, weren't I sitting? Here, just a note, these big M's are for Fabiola. That was her idea. So we don't write negative M's in capital letters in Turkish. Just for you to kind of separate it, okay, for distinguishing purposes. So just M, this negative M is for distinguishing purposes. It's always written, of course, lowercase. So for okumak, okumuyor muydum? Weren't I reading, right? Sevmek, sevmiyor muydum? Görmek, görmüyor muydum? And vermek, vermiyor muydum? Okay, that's basically how we make negative interrogative on these random verbs. Now, just again, one note about the verbs like sevmek. Okay, for example, this one, sevmek, right, or inanmak, to believe, bilmek, to know. This kind of verbs in Turkish, even if in English we use them in present tense. For example, when you say I know, you don't say I'm knowing, right? In Turkish, however, present continuous can be used as a present tense. So when you say biliyorum, it means I know. It doesn't mean I'm knowing, right? So that is same for the past tense. When you say biliyordum, it means I was knowing, or I used to know, or I knew it. Okay. So basically, when we transform seviyorum to seviyordum into the past tense, it may mean that I really used to love, or I loved that person in the past. Okay. So there are certain verbs like I know, to believe, right? To know, to believe, to love, to kind of a trust. These kind of verbs are usually in Turkish language used in the present continuous tense, even if they mean present tense in general. And again, that is valid also for the past form of this, which is past continuous tense. When you say seviyordum or sevmiyordum, it means I used to love, or I didn't used to love, and so on. Okay. So here the meaning is mostly kind of the past of the present continuous of present tense, rather than the past of the present continuous. Okay, because these verbs, I mean, we don't say I am loving, right? And same is valid for the past tense. You don't say I was loving. You basically say I used to love, right? Or I didn't used to love. Okay, let's see a couple of examples before we finish the lesson. And if you have questions, think about them just in order to address them before I finish. So let's see the first example. Bana bakıyorlardı. Okay, bana bakıyorlardı. Bana is the transformation. It's a dative case here, right? Dative case of ben. They were looking to me, at me. So bakıyorlardı is they were looking. The third person plural. Bakmak, to look, right? They were looking here. Bakıyorlardı. The second sentence, Ali kitabı okumuyordu. Kitabı here is accusative case. Therefore, we have kitap becomes kitabı. Okay, accusative case. Ali was not reading the book. And okumuyordu is a third person singular was not reading. Okay. The third sentence is a question interrogative. Beni görüyor muydunuz? Beni here is the accusative case of ben, right? Beni. So görüyor muydunuz, it is the second plural, right? You, plural or formal. Were you seeing me? Görüyor muydunuz? Okay, for example, were you seeing me from a side? Were you seeing me from from the window? Okay. Beni görüyor muydunuz? Were you seeing me? The fourth sentence, sesi duymuyor muydun? Ses is voice, okay, and sesi becomes accusative case again. Letter E here, right? It's accusative case. Sesi duymuyor muydun? Were you not hearing the voice? Weren't you hearing the voice? Okay. So to hear, duymak is to hear, duymak, right? Duymuyor muydun? It is negative here. This M is negative. Okay, let's make it a bit capital. Duymuyor muydun? Okay. Here okumuyordu is capital. Okumuyordu. Okay. Just to distinguish for you. What about fifth example? Öğretmeni dinlemiyorduk. Again, this is the negative. Let's make it capital M. Öğretmen here is teacher, and öğretmeni becomes accusative. We were not listening to the teacher. Okay. So dinlemek is to listen to somebody, dinlemek. So öğretmeni dinlemiyorduk is the negative for dinlemek in the past continuous tense. We were not listening to. To whom? The teacher, öğretmeni. And sixth sentence, seni arıyordum. I was looking for you. Seni again is the accusative case of sen. And arıyordum is I was looking. Aramak is to search, to seek, or to look for. Seni arıyordum. I was looking for you. You can also, aramak is calling, right? Calling somebody using phone. So when you say seni arıyordum, it can also mean I was calling you on the phone. Okay. And last one, the last example here is neredeyse ölüyorduk. It's not the last, we have one more, right? Neredeyse means almost. Neredeyse ölüyorduk. In pronunciation, we usually pronounce it very much shorter, neredeyse. Okay, we kind of eat this one. We omit this one, this e in between. So we just say neredeyse. Not neredeyse, but neredeyse. Neredeyse ölüyorduk. Ölmek is to die. Okay, ölmek. Ölüyorduk. This is we were dying. We were almost dying. You can mention about some kind of accident, whatever it is. So neredeyse ölüyorduk. We were almost dying. And the last one is ne yiyordunuz? You see here it's an interrogative question. It's kind of interrogative sentence, yes. But because we already have a question word ne here, right? What? That's a question word. What? By default, you don't have to say yiyor muydunuz, because yiyor muydunuz will be what? Were you eating? Okay. So when you have what already, you don't need this kind of yiyor muydunuz part. You just say ne yiyordunuz. What were you eating? And in English, of course, it is translated as were you eating. Okay. Ne yiyordunuz? Yemek is to eat. Okay. And here we have just one letter here left. Everything else is what? Yiyor here becomes what? Yiyor is the present continuous, and then becomes plural, past, right? Yiyordunuz. What were you eating? Ne yiyordunuz? What were you eating? Okay, so these are basically examples. Do you have any questions? Anything in mind which is not clear? Anything about today's language? Hello, Ingrid. Unfortunately, this is my last live because of my job. I will continue to watch your recorded lessons. Thank you, Ingrid. You are one of the active watchers. I kind of already noticed it. That's fine. Maybe we can have other times the live kind of lessons on during the other times. I'm just trying to find the middle ground for majority of the subscribers around the globe. So it seems somewhere between the Asia and North America, it is probably the best time, right? 6 p.m. Istanbul time, 7 p.m. Istanbul time, something around this. Maybe sometimes I will do it 5 p.m. Istanbul time, depending on different days. But somehow I have to find a mid ground for multiple continents. It is impossible to satisfy kind of everyone, but still. So thanks God we have recorded sessions, right? Wow, in Brazil, yeah, it's morning then. In Brazil, you have to go to work. All right. Any questions? This class was a bit shorter because in the previous class I had to explain that whole big picture, right? This picture, this one, right? So because I had to explain this picture from the beginning, it took very much time for me. All right, there is so much. There's advertisement in my chat. I don't know how to get rid of this, so let me just get rid of this. Anyway, so this is the picture, okay? This is again the picture, the master picture for all our kind of conjugations in the future. So we are already on this second part of the combined tense conjugation. So we covered today past continuous. We are done with this one, okay? Next class we will cover görülen geçmiş zamanın hikayesi, which is the past tense of the past tense, okay? It is some kind of a meaningless, yes, but that's what we have, okay? We have it in practice. We have it in Turkish. It is the d of the d, okay? D. It is kind of a duplication of the ending of the past tense ending d. And therefore, even if it is meaningless, and it is very rarely used, by the way, okay? It's not very often, frequently used. What is frequently used is the next one, okay? The fourth one, the past tense of the reported past tense, okay? Which basically means past perfect tense in English. But the third one, the past tense of the past tense, is still it exists, and from time to time people use it, even though the meaning is very similar to the fourth one, which is past perfect, okay? So next class we will cover this third, the past tense of the past tense, how we add past tense ending to the past tense, okay? D plus ed, that is it. All right, if no other questions, again, if you are not part of the Telegram channel, I will kind of encourage you to join this channel, this one, Telegram channel. I usually announce live sessions there, even though still not people don't discuss anything over there. I will have discussions, of course, in the future. The more people we have, the more probably there will be discussion and activity. We have just around 13 people right now there. Let's hope it grows and bigger. Thank you all. Thank you for participating. Thank you for joining. Hope to see you in the next lessons. Have a nice evening. Herkese iyi akşamlar arkadaşlar. Görüşmek üzere. Bir dahaki derslerde görüşmek üzere. Bye bye.